What's up, Meat Shields? I hope you're out there having a damn good day. Today, we're gonna try something new and go completely off book. I wanna talk to you guys. Yeah, I wanna talk to the people, okay? And if there's one thing that we all can't seem to agree on, it's which Michael Myers mask from the Halloween franchise is the worst. I'm sure we all have our favorite masks and ones that we like more than the others, but the reality is that making a feature film is difficult. There's a lot of macro and micro decisions that have to be made in order for your movie to see the light of day. Now, you'd think that when you're crafting an entry into arguably the most iconic slasher franchise of all time, with all the love and care that these things require, millions of dollars and top-tier talent, that you'd be able to come up with something a little better than this thing. Like, goddamn, son. But anyways, today we're gonna talk about Halloween and rank all of the Halloween masks from the best to worst. Which to me is better than worst to best because, come on. We all know how this video would end if we did it that way. So let's jump it off with my pick for the best mask in the series, which belongs to Halloween 1978. This iconic mask, worn by Nick Castle in the film and lit by Dean Cundey on the set, is the true definition of horror. From the subtle way that the shape appears using a light on a dimmer switch to him picking up the phone in a close-up after Linda's demise is enough to send the mind racing as to who could be so ruthless to murder these innocent teens on Halloween night. Now, it's been long understood that this mask was modeled after William Shatner and modified to scare the shit out of us. But as the years have gone by, more details have emerged into what exactly took place. You know, growing up, I remember thinking, why the f*** would someone in the 1970s want to dress up as William Shatner for Halloween? After all, Star Trek went off the air in 1968 and was only brought back for re-syndication in 1974, which caused the Star Trek phenomenon to blossom into what it became. But was William Shatner himself so much of a meme back then that people went planning their Halloween costumes and said, Frankenstein? No. Wolfman? No. Clown? Definitely not. Wait, I got it. William Shatner. That'll kill it at the function. Well, according to the lore of why a Shatner mask was chosen and modded to be the base for Halloween probably happened by accident. You see, in 1975, The Devil's Reign was released featuring William Shatner, and there's this ritual scene where cultists are basically torturing his character by pouring hot liquid onto his face. In the final cut, we see this shot, which is supposed to be his face in the process of melting. And with a proper uncompressed HD master, you can go frame by frame and see that along his neckline, the skin tone is slightly different and the bottom of the mask is totally visible. According to the legend, this mock-up mask sat in a magic shop in Hollywood after production on Devil's Reign wrapped, and years later, someone from the Halloween effects crew popped in, bought it for $50, spray painted it white, and the rest is movie history. Somehow never cheesy and always extremely nerve-wracking, the best Halloween movie mask easily goes to the original Halloween 1978. Up next, my pick is the one that appears in the sequel, Halloween 2 from 1981. After teen slashers became box office gold, it was time to return to the well and continue more of the night that he came home. Now, part 2 takes place on the same night, just hours after the events of the first movie, and while time had stood still in Haddonfield, in reality, our actors had aged, as seen by the very interesting wig worn by Jamie Lee Curtis to bring her back to how she looked at the time. Now, the reason Halloween 2 ranks second on my list is because the mask worn by Michael is the exact same mask as the first movie. Now, side by side, we can see that something seems a bit off, and it's because the actor Dick Warlock, which what an amazing name, shout out to his parents, had a different face shape and thus created the mask to bow out a little bit on the sides. I mean, it's no big deal, the shape still walks and stalks and scares, and it's the exact same mask, so perfection has been retained. But the sands of time has caused the mask to age even further, so while its appearance is altered, it's still my pick for the second best on-screen mask in the Halloween series. Alright, moving on. Next up is going to have to be The Mask from Halloween 2018. Now, plot-wise, 2018 retcons every entry and is a direct sequel to the original 1978 movie. Was The Mask up to snuff? I have to say, yes, it definitely delivers. In the opening, two podcasters basically sneak up on him while incarcerated, and somehow they've got their hands on his original mask. But it isn't until a few scenes later, after he's disposed of them, that he pops the trunk Tarantino style and dons the iconic look. The music swells, and 29-year-old me in a theater opening night somewhere is squeeing as loud as I can, and it was basically the homecoming I had wanted since they teased the project. Like, you know in The Force Awakens when Han says, "Chewie, we're home." That's what it felt like then when James Jude Courtney slid on that rubber and began his trek back to Haddonfield. And I mean, phew! Next, I guess, we'll have to go with Halloween Kills. Now, regardless of how you feel about the film as a whole, when Myers appears on the front porch and f***s up those firefighters, I mean, that was metal as f***. The mask, damaged by the fire and the flames, shows a progression of the character in a way that represents people are actually starting to damage this unstoppable killing machine. Which leads us into its sequel, Halloween Ends. And look, I know people love this movie, so I'm not gonna rain on anyone's parade here, but in my humble opinion, the less said about this one, the better. Now, I've seen the interview where the director was like, "We were trying something new," but, anyways. 1 year has passed since Halloween Kills, and Michael Myers is getting his Pennywise on, living in the sewers of Haddonfield, showing more corrosion and rot, as we can only assume he's been surviving somehow off rats and whoever the hell else is dumb enough to cross his path. The mask shows reverence for where we are in the overall plot of the trilogy, and I gotta respect the creativity that went into creating these looks. You know, I've often thought of tracking down all three versions of the mask and wearing them to a Halloween party, and as the night goes on, I swap the masks, making it look like I'm slowly deteriorating as the party goes on. Anyways, A for effort, guys. And before we go on, I want to say honorable mention has to go to the Silver Shamrock masks in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Basically, this spin-off in the franchise sees the evil Silver Shamrock Company issuing 3 Halloween masks for children to wear as they trick-or-treat, and they have become as iconic as the Michael Myers masks in their own right. According to the plot, the Silver Shamrock Company will broadcast a melody on television, causing the masks to activate and unleash havoc upon the children wearing them because reasons. Okay? Now, there is a meta moment where Tom Atkins' character sees a TV spot for the original Halloween film, and that was probably done to show that in-universe, Halloween 3 is its own standalone thing. But before we move on, there is another freaky-ass Easter egg appearance of the Michael Myers mask in Season of the Witch. For those of us that grew up around CRTs, when you power them off, it takes about half a second for the electron gun to discharge. And usually, you'll see the last raster beams appearing against the phosphor of the tube in something that looks like this. This is just something that we got used to and almost looked forward to at the end of our broadcast day. In a way, it's a symbol of we're shutting the TV off, we're tired, and it's time to go to bed. Makes sense, right? So, having said all that, in this scene, a worker kicks back and watches the 8 days until Halloween Silver Shamrock commercial. The last image on screen before a power outage is a kid, but as soon as he loses power and the electron gun in the TV flickers out, the kid morphs into what appears to be a Michael Myers mask. Amazing. And so, for years, I would always tell people the soft phosphor glow on a CRT in Halloween 3 is my favorite Halloween mask, and rant. Up next is Rob Zombie's Halloween, which, to be fair, has a lot of cool masks in the movie. And by the end, when Michael ends up donning the mask he played with as a child, it's nice and grungy, worn, and stylish. This movie is extremely controversial for bringing Rob Zombie's unique blend of redneck, low-class trash people front and center, and for being the most mean-spirited film in the series. But the masks on offer do present a unique flavor, and that's really all I have to say about this one. let's continue. So the years keep coming and they don't stop coming, and with the span of time, we get more Halloween movies, and somehow, every mask from this point on gets weird. I wasn't there when these teams were making the movies, so I can't speak on how the masks ended up how they did, but the next on my list of best to worst has to go to the mask in Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers from 1988. You know, from the poster, it looks like the mask is up to the task, but when the movie starts, it's like, whoa, that's different. To me, this has to be the last time in which the Michael Myers mask is actually scary. And maybe the word I'm looking for is actually intimidating. The jump scares in the beginning are effective, with the shape of the silhouette very menacing, and when the lightning hits, it's like, ah, it's him, run! Most of the shots of Michael in Part 4 are successful in rendering the character in the right way. The only blemish on this otherwise okay outing is a continuity error where during a few shots his hair completely changes to white, which I'm sure people noticed right away and thought, yo, did you just see that right there? Michael is still unstoppable and scary, but this is the beginning of the end as far as I'm concerned. Which brings us to our next entry, Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers from 1995. Anyone who has taken the time to do their research into why this film was an absolute disaster from pre-production all the way to the eventual release of the producer's cut knows that it was a nightmare to see this project all the way through. Let's take a look at the mask. It still looks scary enough, but what the hell is going on with the hair? This is also where key close-ups start to show more of the actor behind the mask's eyes. And the illusion starts to break that I'm looking at a dude in a face mask versus absolute evil personified. Halloween 6 sits here on my list because it's just bearable for me to enjoy as a terrible movie. But what comes up next is anyone's guess as to what the happened behind the scenes. Next, we have Halloween H2O 20 years later from 1998. Halloween Waters' mask commits many, many sins. Sins that actually start to make the mask distracting. In my opinion, here's what they got right. The mask is white, just like it appears in the other movies. Yay! Here's what they got wrong. Why do the eye holes look too big? What the is up with the hair, and why are the eye holes way too big? The scene, which was no doubt engineered to be a trailer moment where, after 20 years, Laurie and Michael come face to face via a little circular window of a door, got more laughs out of my group than shrieks. Like, just look at this! I guess this would be a good time to mention that somewhere during production they forgot some shots that they needed, so there's just this random insert shot where the mask is completely CGI and looks super duper off-putting. And yeah, I'm sure more could be revealed by listening to a commentary track or two, but as it stands, Halloween Waters' CGI mask does not take home any awards. I mean, they really are just blasting mans with light. What happened to, he had the devil's eyes, the blackest eyes? In this shot, it looks like he's about to ask Laurie Strode if she got any games on her phone. And maybe it was done to humanize him, so during the end, after the tree has him pinned up to that car, he and Laurie can share a tender moment, and we can all go, "Aw, look at Michael. Maybe he can be good again." Oh, no, there goes his head. Never mind, he dead. They tried. Boy, did they try. But that's nothing compared to the next entry, Halloween Resurrection from 2002. First of all, what in the Terry Crews is going on here? Michael has officially hit the emo stage. This entry sees Michael Myers as ruthless as ever, but what is up with them eyebrows, homie? Somebody treat Buddy to a spa day. In fact, I would argue that this is where we've officially hit bootleg Spirit Halloween levels of f***ery when it comes to the mask. Oh yeah, and peep the plot, right? Michael breaks out the asylum after dropping Laurie Strode off a roof. Then he finds out that a reality show is being live streamed from his old house, and he decides to put a stop to that real quick like. The kills are brutal, but the characters are so lame, and the only saving grace is Busta Rhymes' Freddie Harris, who busts through a door at the end and says, "Trick or treat, motherfucker," electrocutes Michael in the dick, saves the day before saying Happy Halloween and then dips out. I mean, this brings us to Halloween 2, which is Halloween 2, not Halloween 2 or Halloween 2. You dig me? This is the white boy with dreads era of Michael Myers' mask, which by the end has a huge hole in it and is more interested in leaning into Michael Myers the redneck versus Michael Myers the supernatural entity. Lots of nighttime shots in the rain here. The hair is all over the place, and I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I've only seen this movie once, and I've never really looked back. I don't really have too much to say here, other than the movie that this mask is wrapped up in suffers from the worst of Rob Zombie's trappings as a hack director, who puts his wife in every movie, and his redneck obsession, I don't know. Only super fans need to apply here. I do love The Devil's Rejects, though. That movie is a masterpiece. Moving on to our final entry, and if you've been paying attention, you already know which movie makes the last on my list, and it's Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers from 1989. Holy f***ing shit. This mask has completely lost the plot. Each and every time this mask appears on screen, I just lose it. Looks like it was ordered off Temu. Even the first time you see it, you're like, oh Lord! I know the producers were watching the dailies and were like, we are definitely not making it out the hood with this one. You know that old school duck sound effect? The one that goes like, that's the sound I hear anytime he attacks someone. It's like, just the way it wrinkles out at the bottom makes it look like someone forgot to iron the damn thing. And again, look at the OG poster. You're like, alright. And then, oh, there's a scene towards the end when he even takes the thing off and sheds a tear in front of his niece. And it's like, yeah, buddy, me too. But even after all that, what's the deal here? How did we end up like this? Well, Greg Nicotero of The Walking Dead fame molded the mask after himself due to the production team not having access to any of the original props. So, shout out to the team for trying something new. But also, damn, son. What the hell? So that wraps it up. Thank you, Meat Shields, for hanging out with me in today's video and talking Halloween, one of my favorite movies of all time. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already to see more How to Beat in your life. I'm off to Haddonfield to go trick-or-treating, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a damn good day.